What's up, guys? Maestro Megatron here. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the poolside chat. Today's topic video is, would Jason Takes Manhattan have been better with a bigger budget, with the original budget? Because Rob Hedan, the director, was asking for anywhere from $15 to $20 million to make Jason Takes Manhattan. Because in his original version, his original vision of Jason Takes Manhattan, there was about 30 to 35 more minutes of movie that he actually had drawn out and wanted to start production with. Such scenes on the on the Manhattan Golden State Bridge, scenes in Madison Square Garden. That's where Julius and Jason were originally supposed to have their boxing match, was on top of Madison Square Garden or in Madison Square Garden. There was about 4 or 5 different scenes that Rob Hedan wanted to add in there with a bigger budget that got cut, because Paramount Pictures was like 10 to 15 million dollars, 15 to 20 million dollars. Are you out of your fucking mind? So Paramount Pictures was like, no, we'll give you $5 million to make Jason Takes Manhattan. Take it or leave it, that's all you're going to get. Which, up to that point, $5 million was the biggest budget for any Friday the 13th movie in the franchise history, to that point. The other movies cost anywhere from $900,000 to $2 million. But Jason Takes Manhattan, since Rob Hedan was fighting for these different, better, badass scenes, these different visions that he wanted to direct and that he had written, he wanted a bigger budget than just $900,000 to $2 million. So he was asking anywhere from 10 to 15 to even $20 million. But again, Paramount said, fuck all that, take a big shit on that $20 million. Here's $5 million. So Rob Hedan took the $5 million and just basically gave us what we got. Do I think it would have been any better with a bigger budget? Do I think it would have? Because I'm not a huge fan of Jason Takes Manhattan. It's okay. It's a fun watch. It's not one of my favorite Friday the 13th movies. It's not even one of my favorite sequels of the franchise. But do I think it would have done any better? Or do I think it would have done any worse? No. I don't think it would have been any better. I think it would have been, I think if those extra scenes were produced and directed into the movie, it would have been a lot more cooler to watch. It would have been a lot more badass. It would have had a little more badassery to it than what we got. I guess with that, but if Rob Hedan would have got that budget and got to add in the extra parts that was going to cost all that money, such as the Madison Square Garden and on the Brooklyn Bridge or the Golden State Bridge, whatever bridge they ever wanted to direct it on there. Just basically more actual scenes done in New York instead of Vancouver. I think it would have been a cooler watch than what we got. I don't think it would have been any better. Just like I said, just more cool to watch. Actually, they wanted John Carl Buechler to come back, who directed the previous one, Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood, but John Carl Buechler had prior engagements and was already directing the movie Cellar Dweller. So he was out of the question, so they got Rob Hedan. Now, bear in mind, this is why I think Jason Takes Manhattan wouldn't have been any better. Rob Hedan was the director of the television series Friday the 13th, the series that came out in the late 80s, early 90s. I remember this because I was a kid back then. Us old fogies remember that shit. And he was a supernatural haunting ghost director. He was, because Friday the 13th, the series back in late 80s, early 90s, had nothing to do with Jason Voorhees, by the way. Do your homework. Go Google it. It was about haunted artifacts in a haunted museum. So he was basically a supernatural director of supernatural hauntings and ghosts and spirits and blah, 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 blah. So that's why we got the stupid piece of shit story that we got. And this is why I don't think Jason Takes Manhattan would have been any fucking better with a bigger budget, because the story was just absolute shit. And I'm talking about the disappearing and the reappearing of Jason catching his victims. I'm talking about the visions that Rennie had of young little boy Jason appearing and reappearing. Just the story in Jason Takes Manhattan was just absolute total shit. So I don't think it would have been any better. I think it, like, again, hate to sound like a broken record, would have been a little bit cooler, you know, a little bit more badass scenes to it. Not necessarily badass, just cooler scenes than what we got. But no, they didn't give Rob Hedan the money and the budget that he was asking for. So all the stuff that he had drawn up with the production crew and was going to, you know, wanted to add into the movie and direct it into the movie, we didn't get. So we got most of it filmed on a fucking cruise ship. We all know this. We got most of it filmed in Vancouver because the $5 million budget didn't fit the budget to have a bunch of scenes done in New York, Manhattan for that matter. But no, I don't think it would have been any better. Rob Hedan tried. E for effort. A+ for effort on Rob Hedan's part for trying to get more money and add more scenes. But the story still would have been shit. I mean, it just, again, he was a supernatural haunting director. You know, he directed ghost shows, haunting shows, spirit shows. And that's why we got the stupid ass bullshit of Jason morphing from this place to this place, from that place to this place. Jason morphing. They even put it in the Friday the 13th freaking game. Now it's part of the Friday the 13th Jason Voorhees lore that he can morph, he can appear and reappear, he can teleport. That's why we got that stupid story bullshit in Jason Takes Manhattan. But yeah. Like I said, he wanted anywhere from 10 to 15 to 20 million dollars. That's how much it was going to cost to add his extra scenes and his extra parts. And it actually being all filmed in Manhattan, in New York. But no, Paramount's like, here's $5 million. That's more than we've ever given any other Friday the 13th director. Do I think it would have been any better if John Carl Buechler would have came back and directed it like they asked him to? You know, the one who directed Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood. I think the story would have been a lot better. I don't think we would have got the ghostly aspect of the story like we did in Jason Takes Manhattan. I think the story would have been a little more grounded. But then again, Part 7 wasn't that grounded because we had Tina Shepard, who had telekinetic powers. But still, the story was more interesting than fucking Jason Takes Manhattan, and better. Again, this is not one of my favorite Friday the 13th films. I do include it in my marathon. It's not even one of my favorite sequels, but, you know, I do watch it. It's included in the marathon. It's in the collection. But, yeah, I think, once again, I think there would have been some better parts, some cooler parts. But I don't think Jason Takes Manhattan, especially the story and the directing, I don't think it would have been any better. So I think pretty much what we got from Jason Takes Manhattan is what we got. Whether there was more money for the budget or not. Yeah, would have been cool to see Madison Square Garden. Would have been cool to see the Golden State Bridge, the Brooklyn Bridge, whatever bridge they were gonna to put it on, whatever. But it doesn't matter. What's done is done. We got the final copy back in 1989 of Jason Takes Manhattan. In Rob Hedan's defense, he did ask for more money, but Paramount's like, But as far as the story goes, the story's shit. Rob Hedan, he wasn't a slasher horror movie director. He was a ghost supernatural haunting director. So that's why we got all the stupid supernatural bullshit in Jason Takes Manhattan. But you guys let me know in the comments, do you think it would have been any better? Do you think it could have been done any better if he got the budget and most of it was filmed in New York like it was supposed to be instead of Vancouver and on a fucking cruise ship? The cast of characters are complete and total shit in it. That wouldn't have improved it, but you guys let me know in the comments what you think. I don't think it would have been any better. It still would have been a shit story. Just some cooler parts. It's just some extra cooler parts to watch. But Again, let me know in the comments if I've missed anything. Let me know if I've missed any kind of little factoid information that I forgot to add about Jason Takes Manhattan. But yeah, let me know in the comments, do you think it would have been better? Do you think Jason Takes Manhattan would have been better if there was the original budget that Rob Hedan was asking for? Again, me personally, I don't think so. It still would have been a shit sequel. Just cooler parts. Added extra parts in it, but that's about it. The story still would have been shit. And still would have got that stupid fucking ending with toxic waste, son. The sewers flood with it every night at midnight. And then Jason turns back into a little child wearing tighty-whities in the sewer. One of the dumbest fucking endings I've ever seen in any Friday the 13th movie. I did need to bring that up real fast. God almighty. Anyways, guys, if you like this video, hit the thumbs up. If you love this video, subscribe to the channel. If you're in love with this video, become a member of the channel. Check out my memberships. Check out my membership perks. Let me give a shout out to a couple of my members, Buddy T, Slammo Sammo, and Senor Sebastian Way, and Jojo Thorburno. Just a shout out to a couple of my members. But yeah, check out my memberships on my main homepage of my YouTube channel here. But until then, guys, you let me know what you think about the video and what I might have missed, and if you would have thought it would have been any better. Anyways, guys, until then, stay spooky, stay scary, watch out for the boogeyman. And for Christ's sakes, if you're going to do a Friday the 13th movie, do not fucking hire Rob Hedan.